You things. That's what we do. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown and nationwide, as we are broadcasting everywhere, and we have folks participating from all over the country and some other countries as well. So welcome, glad you're with us, and we remind ourselves and one another every time that such is the nature of life, that all it wants and all it asks is the opportunity to appear. You're that opportunity, and so am I, and so it is. So we are a center that is all about supporting and helping and developing people to live their most precious life, their greatest dreams, their greatest ideas. So there's a teaching component to what we do, there's a healing component to what we do, and there is just an informational, loving, sharing community component to what we do. We are gathering in person again as well as online, so this is a hybrid service. Some of it you'll see broadcast from here, and some of it's broadcast from all over the place. So enjoy the mix and enjoy the opportunity. So I'm glad you're here. I welcome you. And one of the things we do is that we have some basic principles that we teach and that we live by. They are not necessarily mandated. In other words, you don't have to sign on the dotted line and say, I believe all of this in order to participate. All you need to do to participate here is have a positive attitude and want to learn more and open yourself to greater ideas. So one of the ways that we share is what we teach and what our principles are. So I want to share, or we will share some words from some of our practitioners and board about what we believe. I believe
in one God,
one absolute power and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love
and creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life
and the immortality of the individual soul,
forever unfolding.
I believe
in the eternal goodness,
the eternal goodness of God,
the eternal loving kindness,
and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. So it is. So there is more of that particular piece of material and writing on our website if you want to get a bigger picture, a bigger idea of what we're about and what we believe. Right now, we're going to hear from one of our practitioners. A practitioner is someone who has studied this teaching and been licensed by, a licensed practitioner. You can be a practitioner just by thinking, but in this case, a licensed practitioner is someone who has studied the teaching, who has demonstrated the ability to not only change their lives from the teaching, but also to work with other people in helping them change and achieve their goals. So some of those practitioners you saw, others you'll find on the website. Right now, in person, and very happy to have him here, is one of our co-leaders of the practitioner team, Doug Moody. Doug? Mm-hmm. Good. Up.
All right. Good morning. It's so great to see everybody. It's kind of wild. I haven't been in person here in, 2.5 years. Where has time gone with this pandemic? It's really amazing. But it's even more amazing to see each and every one of you here this morning, and especially new people. I know that this is going to just continue growing, and I'm really excited about that. But I'm really excited about today's topic, living your dream. I found a really beautiful writing that was posted by Dr. Wayne Dwyer back in 2013. And it's really beautiful, and it starts out using one of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes, where Ernest Holmes says, "True imagination is not fanciful daydreaming. It is fire from heaven." Fire from heaven. That phrase always interested me. This fire from heaven that Ernest Holmes is talking about is that creative spark, that creative spirit that lives and exists in each and every one of us, and it never stops working. It is always in motion, always creating. The key is we have to recognize it, and we have to let it out and express itself as us, as each one of us in the world. A lot of times we're afraid to do that. Maybe we're uncertain about where that takes us. Maybe we have uncertainties about our talents. Maybe we have uncertainties about, well, what is really my gift? What is it that I bring to the world? I've been in this teaching for a long time, since 1986, and I've got Judy Ailey and Tom Dinkelman here today to remind me of that, and it's really wonderful. But over all those years, what I have learned is not to be afraid. Call that spirit forth. It's the essence of your being. And when you don't call it forth, and when you ignore it, and it'll just become that little pesky relative almost that will be constantly nagging on you, reminding you what you're putting off in your life. And until you finally surrender, and we talk about that a lot in this teaching, about surrendering to your higher power. When you finally surrender, that is when your dreams come true. When the things that are dearest and most sacred and special to you start appearing in your life. And the best way to do that, and sometimes you might need the help of a practitioner to do that, is to allow your mind to start moving in the direction of your dreams. Let your thoughts, your spiritual coin, validate those dreams, those things that are important and dear and special and sacred to you. And when that happens, your thoughts become aligned with your dreams, and those thoughts set things in motion, and boom, manifestation. And don't be afraid to dream. Sometimes we dream, and when it comes to us, it may not exactly be like what we envisioned it to be, but you always have the power to create new dreams too. And thus is a real important little key there. So don't ever feel stuck. We always have the power to create new dreams and manifest those too. So in all of this, my second favorite Ernest Holmes quote talks about love. And it says, love points the way and law makes it happen. And it goes back to when we pursue what we are passionate about in the world, we create a life of purpose and meaning. So join me now in affirmative prayer. I'm going to say this in the first person. Accept what resonates with you for yourself, and whatever doesn't, just let that go. And just relax in your chairs, get comfortable, uncross your limbs, and just be open. Take a deep breath and know this with me. There's only one power, one divine intelligence, that cosmic something that is constantly operating throughout the universe and operating through me and each person present. It is always with me, always, always with me. All I have to do is call it forth. And when I do, I become co-creator of my life, co-creator with the most powerful creator that has created this entire universe, the stars, the galaxies, everything around me that I see. It is this empowerment that I claim for me and each right now and every second of every day. I call forth divine love, divine courage, divine wisdom and understanding, guiding me and each and all present towards living a richer life based on our dreams, on those things we hold special and sacred that define each of us as unique human beings and individuals. I especially pray for the courage for each and all to call that forth and allow that to unfold. Divine guidance will always get you there. It guides me and it guides each of us when we call it forth. And knowing that, I know that my dreams unfold and create my reality. And when this happens, the world is a better place, not only for me, but for everyone around me. I'm so grateful for this teaching. I'm so grateful for this wonderful center who gathers together every Sunday, sometimes even more, to remind us of these, our essential spiritual truths. I'm so grateful for the staff, for our incredible board, for our wonderful Dr. Reverend Bob Deen, for Vance, who coordinates all this technology, and for New Thought Radio, which brings our message forth. It is all good and it's all wonderful. And knowing this, I realize that my dream is unfolding right here and now. And I let my words, releasing them out into the universal law, manifest and come forth. I simply relax and let it be so, because it is wonderful. So am I, and so are you, and together we know, and so it is. Thank you.
Every life is meant for living. Every song is to be sung. Every gift is meant for giving. It's the same for everyone. For the world was built by dreamers. Dreams are real, and so it seems that this world was made for dreaming. If we just wake up and dream, you can wait a lonely lifetime for a knock upon your door. Ships are safe inside the harbor, but is that what ships are for? All the world was built by dreamers. Dreams are real, and so it seems that this world was made for dreaming. If we just wake up and dream, there's a time for every person. There's a space for everything, and from every situation. What we take is what we bring. You can wait a lonely lifetime for a knock upon your door. Ships are safe inside the harbor, but is that what ships are for? By dreamers. Dreams are real, and so it seems if we just wake up and dream. Oh, the world was made for dreaming. Can we help each other dream?
Yep, there I go. So are you a dreamer? Yeah, I hear some yeses back there, and good. I am too, obviously. I remember as a kid when people would ask me again and again and again, adults especially, you know how that goes when you're little and they say, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you're like, I haven't got a clue. I'm just a kid. So we all make up stories and we answer, well, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a policeman. I want to be some other thing that, you know, people think about. I said, my answer was always, I want to be a musician and a fireman. Now, I don't know how I thought that fit together, but I did. And, but I think the important thing about that question isn't whether you have an answer that makes any sense, but it's to get our mind started on thinking about it, on dreaming about what we might be someday. And one of the things I did as a kid, and this is just by example, is that my family, I come from a very musical family, and the expectation, as I talked about last week, was I was going to do something with that music. So when I was about 9 years old, I got very creative and did two things. My friend and I went out. I lived in Florida, and we had all that sparkly sand. And we thought, those are diamonds in that sand. So we took tweezers and magnifying glasses, and we collected a whole vial of those diamonds. And we were sure we were going to be able to sponsor our lives from now on. And we couldn't imagine why nobody noticed that before. Took it to a jeweler, and of course he was very kind and said, oh no, this is quartz. Well, this is the 1950s. Who knew at that time that quartz was going to play the role in our lives that it does now? So I'm giving myself credit for recognizing the value and having the dream even before there was anything to point me in that direction. Now, what we were going to use the money for was to develop my invention, because I had invented a new baton for for band directors and orchestra directors to use. Because as I watched this going on, I said, you know, they've got a lot of different parts, but they only got one stick. So if they're going to control all those parts, they need more sticks. So we got together and we taped together this stuff so that we had about an 8-pronged stick to use to conduct with. And we tried to make some of it flexible because we knew different parts would be doing different things at different times. So all that creative kind of stuff was going on. Well, needless to say, the invention never got off the ground, and I was bored with it a week or two later, and we didn't get any money, so that all ended. But what that does is it gets you started on imagining and dreaming, because those dreams are what will guide and direct our living from forever, from that moment until this moment. And the dreams today are about the future as well as the here and the now. We've been talking about work and its role in our work, in our lives this whole month. And we talked about work as service. We talked about always being self-employed. Whatever you're doing, you are self-employed. Whether someone else calls you that or not doesn't matter, because you're working for you first, foremost. So this week we're jumping to the next part of that, which is I'm self-employed and I am living my dream, and I'm going to create my dream. So that we there's some really important things about that. One of them is in a Holmes quote here that is about the word of thought, and it will be on the screen here in a second. There we go. Wake up. Your word is all powerful. Your consciousness is one of omnipotence. Your thought is infinite, your destiny is eternal, and your hope. And I didn't see the rest of it fast enough. Oh well, you did. We're all in this together. But the piece I wanted you to get out of that mostly is that first part. It's your word that has omnipotent power. You know, the wisdom writers, which were picked up, writings, which were picked up and added in and as part of the New Testament, say, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was eternal with God. The Word is eternal with God. And so that idea from Christianity, which came from early Judaism, and who knows where from there, says the same thing in many ways. That the Word we speak and the Word we bring forward has eternal power and has power that is omnipotent. You know what that is, right? Omni is complete, everything, and potent is power. So all powerful. Your word is all powerful. Remember that when you're standing at the water fountain next week and complaining about what's going on in your job, because you're speaking your truth into that same power that's moving things forward. One of the first things I learned when I got into this teaching is that, you know, this is not to get rich quick. It's not to get something for nothing. It is about learning to utilize consciousness to create that which we want to bring forward. And the line that really rocked my world back in those days was the line that we don't get what we want in life. We get what we believe we deserve. That went like an arrow right through me when I first heard it. What do I really believe I deserve? Do I really believe I deserve this dream? Do I believe I deserve this dream to be the leader of this community, filling up this room and filling up living rooms and other places all across the world? Do I believe I really deserve that? That's an important question for all of us who are part of this community to think about. Do you really deserve? Do you really believe in you're deserving of whatever is coming forward and come forth into life? See, and the other part of this is so important. It's what you think of yourself, what we think of ourselves. All day, every day is what matters. You know, we come here, we get bright ideas, we get good ideas, and they are inspiring. And I love the fact that we can get together with other people who are positive and open and moving forward. And that's wonderful and rich, and so glad you all are here. And then my next move is to get back out in my everyday world, whether I'm employed or working or retired or whatever you're doing. And then it's how are you thinking of yourself in that world at that time? Because the cumulative thought, the cumulative belief of your thought and your consciousness also is part of that all power. And the psalm says we have thought atmospheres that we kind of create around us. And you know what that is for some people, right? All you got to do is walk up and you get one whiff, one feeling of who they are and what they're about, and you get their thought atmosphere. You can tell when people are discouraged and sad and not believing in anything happening good for them. You can also see those people who are seeing the world as something better and something giving and something participatory. One of the things that gets in our way in our thinking about ourselves at work is that we have this cultural belief that good work is hard work. You got to work hard. You know, that old nose to the grindstone. What is that? Shoulder to the wheel, eye on the ball. Heck of a position to get anything done in. Yet it's ingrained so much in our culture that often it's ingrained in us as we go through our daily next day movements. So if it's hard, if it's stressful, if it wears you out completely so that by the end of the day you're shot and you're grumpy when you get home, if you have people to go home to, you know, and then there's a belief with that is that the harder it is and the more stressful it is and the grumpier you are, the more you ought to get paid. Think about that. So we want to pay people more to be grumpy, stressful, and unhappy because that stress deserves something good. Well, we want to flip that on its ear, flip it completely around, because in our work, it really should be the place where we are serving ourselves and other people joyfully, easily, intelligently, and creatively. Wow. That's really different. You know, and there are things we could do to flip that in our everyday lives, whether we're whatever the experience we are currently having. Nobody is stuck with your current experience of work, because you're self-employed and you get to create a different experience of it. You get to walk in and make it happen the way you want it to happen. I had a friend back in California who worked with computers. He was an early programmer. He knew that stuff upside and down. And when he tried to talk to me, my eyes rolled back in my head because I didn't understand any of it. But what I did understand about him was he was someone who was so hungry for contact, because all of his day was spent behind that computer. This is before Zoom or any of that stuff was going on. So he figured out that one of the things he could do is anywhere that he's engaged, he could offer hugs to people and get hugged back. And he actually wore a little button that said, "Free hugs." He was a big guy. He was bigger than me. And so he just sort of enveloped you in his hugs because they were so powerful for him. Now, not everybody wants to be hugged, and so I don't recommend that if it's not your thing. But for him, it fulfilled a big piece of his day. And so he could hang out at the computer and then look forward to those opportunities where he could go and hug people and be hugged back. And he was one of our greeters at the center, and you know, everybody went through that door in order to get hugged by him, because he was just the man as far as hugs were concerned. So we find those things which bring us joy and find a way to incorporate them into our work. It's really kind of simple when you think about it, but you got to start with what you think and what you feel. Easy, joyful, intelligent, and creative. So I wanted to flip from that as you're thinking about that in your current work, but to shift into this idea of creating the dream job or the dream world or the dream life. First thing you got to do is get clear about what your dream is. Because this amazing spiritual law that we live and move and work in, and that responds to us always saying yes, is going to be saying yes to whatever confused vision you may have of your dream. And I don't know about you, but some days it feels like it's a different one every moment. And I'm like, thank goodness it doesn't manifest quite that fast, or life would be very confusing. But it is confusing until we get really clear about our dream. And it's not the how we want to live or how we want to work, but the what. To get as clear as possible about the what. What is it I really want to be doing? I love kids and I love teaching, and I want to be teaching kids. And for much of my life I have been, and I still am, with teens. And I had to stop there in the what and say, I love kids. I want an opportunity to interact, to engage, to matter to them, and them matter to me, and them to know they matter. And then I let go of the how. I had no idea how it would come about. Now, I didn't know that to begin with. I sort of evolved into knowing that and learning it. And I've taught kids music. I've taught kids spiritual principles and ideas at our camps. I've taught kids all kinds of stuff over the years and been engaged with them and loved every second of it. Well, most every second. There have been some noisy ones that maybe not. But you get the vision and the dream, and you let go of the how. I knew, without a doubt, years ago, and I'm using me as an example because I don't want to talk about any of you because you'll get mad at me. But I had a real clear clarity that with this teaching, I wanted to keep teaching, but I wasn't sure I still wanted to do a center. And so I took a sabbatical for 9 months, planned it for 3, it lasted 9. And I kept wrestling with what will I do next? Will I come back to the center? Will I go do something else? But I had this niggling in my inner voice, like you said. If you don't listen to Spirit carefully, it'll still talk to you, because it'll talk to you from behind the curtain that you try to put up. And it was kind of doing that for me. I was at the Grand Canyon having a wonderful time as running the front of one of the restaurants with the view of the canyon every night. It was gorgeous, and I loved it. And I had ended up there in some sort of weird circumstances that got me there. It got me stuck there. But what a great place to be stuck, Grand Canyon. At least I thought I was stuck. I'd been there just a few weeks, and this young guy from Yugoslavia, or the Slavic Republic now, was talking at the table in his broken English with some of his friends, and they were talking about the universe this, and the universe that, and consciousness this, and consciousness that, and my ears perked up. So I happened to be sitting at the same table with them, and I joined in the conversation, and we got some really interesting ideas going. And they said, well, we all get off from work tonight at 11 when the restaurants all close. Let's meet and talk. And we did. I taught Science of Mind for the next 6 weeks to folks from all over the world who gathered on the side of the mountain, looking down into the canyon when it was bright enough to see in the canyon, and just sharing ideas. Nobody paid me. I didn't need to be paid. Well, they paid me to stay there. But see, I have that dream that this teaching is one of the solutions to the world's challenges. I absolutely know that. If we can just get people to understand who they are and what power they have, then we are on the way to solving all the divides and the hatred and all these things that are flying at us now, in the culture, which aren't new. They are just louder and more in our face, so we have to address them. This teaching holds some real power for doing that. So you get your vision, you get it clear about the what. Then you have to start building the belief in yourself that you can indeed gather to you and become the person who can live that dream. I have no dream of being a ballerina. That ship sailed a long time ago. I had 5 minutes when I was about 7 years old of being a ballerina, and then I got over it. But the whole idea here is I got to build the consciousness that says, yes, I can be a ballerina. I just knew at that point I was too clumsy, and I could barely stand up sometimes. So it's a matter of building. The way we build a consciousness toward our dreams is what Doug just beautifully demonstrated for us, which is a spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, where I begin to clear out all these nonsensical beliefs and instead put in place of them better ideas about myself, about my value. We teach and say and know that we are individual expressions of an infinite power. God is showing up as us, if you don't mind me using that word. Whether you think God, spirit, life, universe, whatever ultimate power word there is for you, that it moves into life as each of us. The thoughts we think, the love we feel, those positive, powerful freedoms that are so much a part of our urging to become more. All that's naturally God-given, God expressing through us, Spirit expressing through us. So a big part of this question of building the consciousness is getting very clear about who I am. I am an expression of the divine. There is energy and power flowing through me as me that could create according to my best idea of myself. It's a given. It's already there. I didn't have to make it happen. I don't have to accept any set of beliefs to make it happen. It's been happening all my life. From finding riches in the sand to whatever else. So we do this building of consciousness. That's one of the ways. Spiritual mind treatment. Being clear that we live in a spiritually responsive universe. Where are you? Because it's like, who am I? Where am I? And why am I here? Those are the three questions that you have to answer to build that consciousness. The who am I is I'm an expression of the divine. Where am I is I live in a user-friendly universe that says yes to my yes, and says yes to my dreams and my desires and my beliefs in my dreams. Remember, it's not about what we want, it's about what we can believe in we deserve. And the universe says yes. Spirit says yes. Life says yes. No sooner do you declare something than it shows up in your face right there, or it can. It can be instantaneous. It can take time to actually show up. But the where is where I live. The why am I here? I'm here to create. I'm here to love. I'm here to express freedom. I'm here to embrace people and things. So get the dream, let go of the how, and be ready to embrace the more. One last story. My friend here in Atlanta from the 90s was my first practitioner client. And he was someone I was working with as his practitioner. I was still in prac class, and he was my experiment, And so it's interesting how those early first 2 or 3 times where you see a major change in somebody sticks. But he came to me for treatment because he was a chef. He was working in a restaurant here in Atlanta. He was frustrated because he hated cooking the same thing over and over and over again. He's like, I love cooking. I love being a chef, but I have to keep making the same dish because that's what they pay me for. And so he wanted that. He also wanted to manifest a life of prosperity, of having places to live all over the world, and maybe even yachts. So we created this whole idea. We kept talking and working with it. And it's been going on. We've been working together for about 4 weeks, and he came in just over the top excited. Some people had come into his restaurant, had loved the food, asked him to come out to talk to them. And it was a family of doctors. I mean, like 3 generations, and all the siblings, everybody were doctors. And they said, we are looking for a private chef who can cook. You can cook what you want to within certain parameters. We'll have a chauffeur to drive you to buy your groceries, and that was part of his picture too. And you need to be able to travel because we have homes all over the world. And he did. He manifested that dream, not the way he ever imagined. His idea was he'd get enough money in the bank to buy those things, or he'd get enough freedom to create his own restaurant. All sorts of ideas of how, but when he let go of the how and just stayed in the what is my dream? What do I want to experience? What do I want to be and become? And what can I believe in myself to be and become? He wasn't too sure, but I was sure that there was some kind of solution. And between us, that was the solution. And he sent me a card. He was sending me postcards for a while from all over the world as he would be in different places, including where the yacht was based in the Mediterranean. So don't limit your what. Don't limit your dream. Don't limit your vision. Be bold. Be brave. Be open. There's one last quote here from Ernest Holmes. It is that we are chemists in the laboratory of the infinite. What shall we produce? That's our job. And our chemistry, our things we work with are in here, are in our thinking, our thought, and our vision and our dreams. And they are truly wonderful. So as we close, I simply would ask for you to recognize with me our affirmation for this week. I'm not going to ask you to repeat it out loud, just to see it and know it. The dream of life is awake and alive in me. And I would add to that, I deserve my vision to be manifest now. And there it is. You're wonderful. So am I. So it is. Thank you. And whew, yay! I have to say, it's really exciting to have people in here again. It is, you got me going. So we're going to hear now from Vance as he shares with us some things about how we support this center. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Dr. Bob. That was an awesome talk this morning, and it's great to see all these faces here. It's awesome. And you online as well. So we're going to do our affirmation of prosperity, and you can give online at www.cslmidtown.org/donate, or click on the QR code and bring that up. It'll take you to that same site to donate. You can do a one-time donation, or you can do ongoing giving, whatever you fits with what you want to do with all the prosperity. With your dreams coming true, there's prosperity, and that's how we give back and create and join us. So if you'll join me now with our affirmation for prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Back to Dr. Bob to talk about class. I think
Classes.
More people.
Yes. So we started the class last week. It is we have the opportunity to still enroll people in it this week, and after this it will close. It's a 6 weeks class on mysticism. It is mysticism. It's not a class about mysticism. It's a class in which you can participate in mystical experience, because it's about courting the divine, learning techniques and ways with meditation and other kinds of practices to really engage in that sense of connecting with the divine within you. So if you're interested in the class, it meets on Wednesday nights, 7 o'clock, 7 to 9, maybe 9:30 some weeks, but mostly 7 to 9. And just go to the website. There's a link there that will take you to register for it. And then I'll be in touch with you if you're interested in that. I'll send you the links and all the things you need. The other thing I want to say is next week, we have the Practitioner Sunday, our first ever Prac Sunday. Practitioners are going to do the whole service. They will be brilliant, as you heard already from one of them today, and as we've heard from most of them over the last years. And so it's a really exciting time to piece that together. And I will be away at a retreat, so I will not be here and engaged. Vance will also be away to run. So we have Jake running the sound and all of the things next week. So those of you who are here in person, be gentle and be kind and support and maybe help out where there's a need. I'm sure it will be wonderful and go great. The other thing I just want to say quickly is starting next month, because you mentioned, where did you go? Vance, you mentioned prosperity. The month of October, our theme for the whole month is prosperity. We're going to be looking at not only prosperity regarding money, but prosperity regarding all of the areas of our lives. Prosperity in relationships, in spiritual connection, prosperity of joy, prosperity of health. There are all kinds of ways to think about prosperity. So that will be our focus for next month. And I will be looking forward to joining you for that. So join me, if you will, in our closing affirmation. And it is here on the screen. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I know in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. And I'm grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. And so it is. Thank you. See you next time.